Hello everybody and welcome. I make a lot of fragrance videos and a lot of them are unboxings and blind testings, but I don't really get the chance to fully feel them out and experience them for projection and performance. And these videos here not only tell you what I wore this month, but also this is where I make recommendations off of those fragrances. I try them out and I let you know. And I'm sure some general buffoonery will also take place in some ridiculous stories. Let's begin. So, I was able to get some colder weather scents. And the first fragrance that I wore in December is from the House of Mancera. I do think that this is a fairly, not hyped, a fairly, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It is hyped, and it's very well complimented, and I don't know if it lived up to what I was hoping. And this is Seja Boise, and this is the intense version. This is sort of a strange, aromatic vetiver, kind of like a green Irish tweed almost, kind of like got that woodsiness that I just learned this word. I'll use it on you all, and then you can all be as confused as I was when I didn't know what it was. Fougere. So fougere meaning literally translates to fern, meaning woodsy and naturistic is what this guy is. And I think it works great in the winter, and that's why I wore it. I think it was like 30 degrees outside Fahrenheit, and it projected fine. It lasted fine, probably like 4 or 5 hours, but I just didn't care for it that much, and I wonder if it'll kind of grow on me a little bit. I'm not sure, but to me it's a one and done so far. And I also have reservations calling that niche too. I think that that's fairly inoffensive. I don't think that anyone's gonna get all upset about it. It didn't really fit me. I guess, you kind of look at a fragrance and you're like, yeah, that's me. Like, oh, it's playful and energetic, or it's rich and depressing. Either way, right? And I think that guy, it was just like, I don't know, that's me. Anyways, the second day, and I didn't get any comments on that. I also said comments, but that's secondary, right? Moschino Toy Boy. I've talked about this guy forever, so I'm not going to talk about it here that much. Just to say that this on skin performs great, at least for me. It lasts forever. It projects, and it's really good. I tried it 2 or 3 other fragrances with it, like, and it outperformed all of them. So I was really excited about it. Day 3 from the House of Resassi. It is a bit of a flanker of theirs, and it's A-Bar. It's got this bottle that I like and this cap that I hate. It's very strange. It never feels like it's on. It freely rotates, but it's a gorgeous bottle. And this is a friendly Gourmand type of boozy fragrance. It's not, don't think like Angel Share or anything like that. It's not heavy boozy or anything like that. It's, aromatic. It's caramel, nutmeg kind of spices, and inviting, welcoming. The only thing that I have to say about this is wasn't a great performer for me and did not really project a whole lot. No comments or compliments on that guy. This next one, I don't think ever getting a compliment on this thing, and this is niche for sure. For score. And I always wear some variation of Layton to the gym. It's my workout fragrance, and I don't wear the actual Layton because that would be stupid to wear a $300 fragrance to the gym. So I grab one of the flankers, right? I grab one of the colognes, and it's usually always Detour Noir. I just like it the best. I don't think it's the best as far as closeness to Layton, but I like it the best, and it's a good price point for me. So I went up and picked up the Detour Noir version of Exclusive, Layton Exclusive. That's what this is. This, I compared it. If you haven't seen that video, I compared it directly to Layton Exclusive, and this, side by side, this starts off very different than Layton Exclusive, but the dry down is so close. I couldn't tell the difference. So it's very close. But to me, it's not a spiced up version of Layton. I want to make that very clear. This is not Layton 2.0, like, and the reason why I say that is because that's literally the way that Parfums de Marly advertises it. Oh, this is all the best parts about Layton. Here you go. No, it's not like it at all. And to me, it's because it smells like Bijan to me. And if you've smelled Bijan and you smell this, you can't not smell Bijan. It's complex, it's aromatic, it's spicy, it has way too many notes to be able to differentiate everything. Performance on this guy was great. 8-9 hours, easy. So loved it, but that's a very niche type of note. It's like every single note in the world that you're not familiar with, they crammed into a bottle. And those just don't get compliments because people are like, what the hell is that? They like simple. Speaking of simple, this next one, I wore this a lot. I wore it a lot the first week, the second week, the third week, the fourth week. I mean, just wore this guy out. And this guy is by Victor and Rolf, and this is Spicebomb Extreme. I bought this. Good deal. And if you haven't smelled it, it has this huge, overwhelming presence of vanilla, and spice goes on top of that, but it's very warm, very inviting, great winter fragrance. And man, I started dating this girl. I've gone on a lot of dates this year, and most of them have been awful. The quality of people, I feel like, is declining. And maybe it's just me, right? If everywhere you go, everyone seems strange, maybe the strange one is me. I can't ignore that possibility. But she's a singer and an actress. So the last time that I date a singer and an actress, all of this time that we're talking, I call it the BC, before crazy, because this girl went off the rails on me. Off the rails. And I heard this term, and I still to this day have no idea what it means, but it's doorknob sucking crazy. And that's like intense. That's like, I'm so crazy that I'm going for the world record. And man, dudes can be crazy, women can be crazy, everybody can be crazy. It's not just women, that's this was BC. This was before crazy. And then AD, I would say, is after doorknob. And she loved this fragrance, so I wore it a little bit more than I usually do and sprayed it on. Got in the car. And she sat down. She starts talking. She just stops talking all of a sudden, which was great, actually. I should have done that more. I should have just kept spraying. And, man, she goes, oh my gosh, what is that? That is great. And I'll tell you, Spicebomb will do that. Every one of them, people will stop in their tracks. But there's a difference between what is that and oh my gosh, that's great. And the other spice bombs that I've gotten are usually not followed up by, oh, that's great. Not that the people don't like it, but it's just enchanting, this Spice Bomb Extreme. And we went to go see Christmas Carol in play, right? A play of it. And man, I guess she wanted to flex on me. And she wore Marc Jacobs. And then this guy to my right, he was wearing something funky. I don't know what it is. I'm just like, I sprayed one and done because I don't want to drown everybody else around me. They didn't get the memo. I was like, Lord have mercy. Whoa, that was a lot to sit next to for hours and hours and hours. I wish I had some of this, man. Spray right up the nose so I didn't have to smell them. But that's what I was wearing. And I wore this just about every day. Oh, I forgot to bring a fragrance in here. Okay. I was wearing Valentino Born in Roma Intense. And I do not have it in front of me. Born in Roma, Valentino Intense was my birthday fragrance. So my birthday is on December the 8th. And so that was the second Sunday of the month. And wore that. I don't know what it was, but it irritated me. And I irritated myself. And it just was not good. I don't know why. I love Born in Roma Intense. I couldn't stand it on me that night. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but man. So, wore that. And then the day after my birthday, she sends me a scathing rebuke and a breakup text. And it's funny, man. It's funny. I was like, what the hell? And it was we only went out for like 4 or 5 weeks. So I mean, it was like I barely even knew her. And the day after my birthday, I'm like, the AD, man. And anyways, you don't need to hear sordid details about my love life. And then I've been on some winners ever since. I don't need to get into that. Anyways, let's go to week 2. So week 2, I started off with by Swiss Arabian, and this is Casablanca. Now this is another Middle Eastern fragrance house, Swiss Arabian, and this is a Dollars to Donuts pair of A-Bar, and they went for a very similar vibe, and I don't know if it was a happy accident or if they literally just copied it, but this is a slightly cheaper version of A-Bar, and it performs about the same. Sweet, just sweet, 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 syrupy caramel, almost esque vanilla, gourmand type of fragrance. Which one do I recommend? I don't know. If you like Versace, get Versace. If you don't care about the brand name, Casablanca is cheaper. And let me see how much this is in this. This is 100 ml. And the other one I think is 75. So the Casablanca's better deal. Let's keep going. So went ahead and brought back this guy. This is Mont Blanc, and this is explore platinum. And this is a good fragrance, man. This is floral. Very floral. Probably too floral for about 80-90% of people out there. And the projection's great. This is also something that gets a lot of compliments from women. But I don't think you're ever going to get complimented on this guy from your friends, your male friends. I don't think any of them are going to go, oh, what is that intoxicating floral arrangement you're wearing? I just don't see that happening. That would be disturbing, I think. But projection's good, performance is good, and I really like that. Really like that. Next. Again, from the house of Mont Blanc. I don't know why. It's one of those like Dracar. I can't just say Dracar. I could be like Dracar. Like just like have a stroke in the middle of saying it. And it's the same thing with Mont Blanc. I can't just say Mont Blanc. I'd be like Mont Blanc. Like it doesn't sound right. It doesn't hit the ears right. So I'll say Mont Blanc. Oui, oui. And this is Legend Red. And man, this was a fragrance that I had sitting in my box for a while. I bought it on a good deal and just sat there for a while. This is a spicy masculine fragrance, and it's good, man. It's good. And it's simple. I'd heard that this is a big compliment magnet. I don't really care about that. I have all the legends with the exception of Blue that just came out. And this was just to complete the collection. I will say though, this is probably my favorite in the Mont Blancs, but as is, this is an eau de parfum. And man, the performance was just not what I wanted it to be. An easy 2 or 3 hours, but the projection wasn't there, the sillage wasn't there. It's just simple, basic, but I'd have to do like 6 or 7 sprays, and it's just, I don't know. I'd take it or leave it on that one. Next. This is from the house of Ottermoff, and this is Odyssey. And I think this might have been one of the original ones. This might have been the first Odyssey that they released. And this is Odyssey Home. Now, the Odysseys that came afterwards, I just designate them based on their color. They all look different. Mandarin Sky, I think, is a clone of Scandal by Chocolaty. That's another thing. Like, you have to put a French twist on that one, too. You can't say John Paul Gaultier. Like, because that's how it's spelled, right? Gaultier. Jean-Paul Gaultier. So, it helps if you move your head, too. And this is a clone of Noir Extreme. Took a second there. By Tom Ford. And this is amazing. Now, Tom Ford's incredibly overpriced. But Noir Extreme, not so much. You can get Noir Extreme for $110 or something like that. Which is still very expensive, but it's not the $300, $400 Lost Cherry, you know. And what Noir Extreme is it's a rich and complex winter fragrance. It has spice and aromatics. It has woodsiness. It is masculine, but also unisex. I think it definitely leans more masculine, but also can be worn by both because it has a distinct sweetness in there. I don't know if that's coming from vanilla. I don't know if that's coming from certain sweetness like an ambroxan. But there's something in there that does make it slightly unisex. The thing that I was impressed about was the projection. 4 or 5 hours easy. And I was really happy with it. It's a $27 fragrance. I definitely recommend that have that the fragrances themselves are sub 100 and the clones are like 40. I'm like, I think I'd rather have the real deal. But sometimes it's not always an option, right, for people. So, man, this next one I was a little disappointed with, and this is from Armani, and this is Stronger With You. First off, it's a great fragrance. They changed the recipe from what I hear. I've never known any different than this one, but apparently it used to be a lot more complex. And when I did a side-by-side with this and Lattafa's Camera or Altair clone of Liquid Brown, this just seems lacking. It seems basic. It seems simple. This is, your typical love recipe for me. This is like if I could take and extract my thoughts of what a perfect fragrance is, it would look something like this. But it did not perform great. It did not project great. And this is a $120 fragrance. And I'm looking at Liquid Brown, a $45 fragrance, outperforming this thing. I'm looking at Camera, outperforming this thing. Are they the exact same? No, absolutely not. And that's my point as well. I think this is a less offensive fragrance, but I would probably not pick this over Liquid Brown or Camera, just being totally honest. Totally honest. And that's week 2, man. That's week 2. So, crazy girl, doorknob girl, she hollered back at me, and she was like, I made a mistake. We good. I'm just like, fine, we're good. Like, I ain't doing nothing else. That was my mindset. I was like, I'm not doing anything else. We can stay together. And, man, just went crazy. I found this out. I don't know, fellas. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that are single. I'm sure there's a lot of some of you out there happy in relationships. And I'm assuming there's a lot of you out there that are married as well. And, man, I have had difficulties. And this is coming from me, who is a PhD in psychology, or almost there. I'm about ready to graduate. I specialize in the human mind. I can't understand these people these days. And you see on these, like, apps and whatnot, that they're like, no married people, no, none of this, none of that. I don't subscribe to that at all. Like, I love people for their uniqueness. The fact that they're not like me, I love. If they're like me, I love. I just, it's more about a chemistry thing. And this girl in particular, and not just her, other people too. The last relationship I had was a year long, and it ended this way too. When you are getting up to 20s to your 30s, you have accumulated so much trauma in your life that it comes out in various and strange ways. And this last one, the doorknob girl, she was engaged, and she thought all men were scum, and just basically thought that I was too, because I was a man. And then the other one, her parents jumped into like hyper overdrive protective mode, and there was some other stuff too, and that was where my don't date doctors rule came from. But I don't know if y'all be having the same issues, but holy cow. And like psychologically, like I get it, but I don't get it, you know what I mean? Like psychologically I understand why they're building up these defense mechanisms, but I really don't like the ideology that, oh, you're dating in your late 20s to your 30s, there's got to be something wrong with you. It's not that, but I'm very much having a hard time disproving that right now. So I don't know. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how y'all get married and stay married, and I've never been married. anyway, back to the fragrances, but this brings us to week 3, and this is the Tapas Gourmand. Just talked about this, and this is Gourmand. Now, someone made a point on a video that I made about this. A very good point. Gourmand means coffee. At least that's what I've been told that it means. There is coffee in here. I do not smell the coffee. I don't get the coffee. The coffee's lost on me. But here's the thing. I don't drink coffee. I have nothing to do with coffee. No caffeine at all. And I feel like that's part of the reason why I don't get the coffee coming out in fragrances. It's not something that my body likes. When you drink coffee, every, cell in your body is rejoicing when it smells it because it thinks it's going to get fed more, right? I just don't get it. So someone said, hey, there's coffee in that. I believe you, especially considering the name of it. I just don't get it. Instead, what I get is boozy, rich, complex, and sweet. It is 100% your boozy, gourmand, butterscotch type fragrance. And it's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. Again, I probably would not pick Stronger With You over this. I recommend this very much. It projects like crazy, and man, this thing will last you, 7 hours, 8 hours. It's kind of like the Club de Nuit effect, where you spray your clothes. The next time you go to wear them, you're like, what? I didn't even spray yet. What is that? Oh, that's Gourmand. You don't say. It's like that. It's like that. And then up next is another flanker that I already talked about. This is the Liquid Burn. This is the cologne of Altair. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's rich and complex, similar to Gourmand. There's a lot coming at you, boozy, luxurious, but definitely falls much more on that Gourmand versus something like Gourmand, which is going to be very boozy. Any Killian fragrance is very boozy versus something like this, which is just very sweet, honey, sickeningly sweet, oozing your favorite Christmas time dessert kind of vibe. And it's really good, and it projects well. It's not nearly the projection monster that Gourmand is, but it does last me around 6 or 7 hours. And I think to that extent, those two are more intimate fragrances. Those are more of your date night fragrances where you're going to be in much more of a closer proximity than something like, Leighton, where you're just thrown out there, not necessarily wearing it for a night out. Next was December 15th, my Christmas concert. We planned this for 4 months, and practice not nearly enough, but I planned this for about 4 months, and this Christmas concert was great. We had 1 or 2 easy songs, but the conductor of my orchestra seems to think we're like the Philharmonic or something, and no, we're not that. We're not that at all. My first violin that plays with me, love the guy. He's about ready to move away. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because he's taught me a lot. But if any of you understand anything about violin, this guy, all of his siblings went to Juilliard. He couldn't get in because he has performance anxiety and underperformed. This is the story, right? He's played violin for 57 years, and he's only 60. And both parents were professional musicians. humblest man that you will ever find in your life, which is very strange for musicians, especially string players. And he went to Brooklyn, and he got he's born and raised in Brooklyn. He got his performing arts degree from Brooklyn, but because of the proximity to Juilliard, a lot of the Juilliard teachers moonlighted at Brooklyn, and he's told me of master classes that he did with Itzik Perlman and all the big boys. The guy who was his mentor, if you will, his name was Kawasaki, Masao Kawasaki, I believe, and is a legend in his own right. But he's great, man. He's great. But after that, the quality of musicians drops off. And it drops off drastically. So, this is, how it typically works is you have your first violins. And it's a misnomer. It's a lie that the first violins are all better than the seconds. And that the first part is harder than the second. It's not always the case. Sometimes seconds is harder than the first. So the whole playing second violin or second fiddle, right, is supposed to be demeaning. I'm not playing second fiddle to you. It's more of a follow thing. It's if your first violin is messing up, you're kind of screwed because the second only sounds right if the first is on. And so he was first violin, first chair, and I was second violin, first chair. And holy cow, that was a rough show. I've never had this happen before. Never in a million years have I had this happen before, but every musician in my row dropped their bow, which is their instrument. You have violin, and in one of their cases, viola, and the bow. The bow is your instrument. People don't realize this. This just does this, right? It just does this. This is your instrument, the right side. I've never seen it before. All of them dropped their bows during the show on the ground. I'm like, y'all be drinking before this, what? But, man, it was good. We had a record crowd. It was 1,500 people and had a choir of 200 in addition to the orchestra. And it was great. That part was great. But, man, it was sussy. There was some sussiness going on in there. But, man, it was good. It was a really good show. It was a really good performance. And did it again, actually. 2 shows that day. And for the very first show, I wore one of my new favorite fragrances. And this is Boss Bottled Elixir. And this is an incredible woodsy fougere vetiver leather fragrance, rich, complex, masculine, and also a beautiful cold weather fragrance. And I love it. And this I've seen as low as $50-$60, and that is a steal for this. So the first show was done. All went well. All was well. I think we played 13, and it was really cool. We did this year. We did an outreach program, and as an orchestral musician, you get very used to playing for nobody. The guy that I told you about, the guy from Brooklyn, he actually played in a orchestra for Christmas last year. They did not, no, it wasn't Christmas, it was the 4th of July. They did not advertise it very well, and they had all these professional musicians go to Virginia, and we don't live in Virginia. It's a long drive, and he texted me. I said, "Hey, how's it going?" He goes, "This is the crowd we're playing for." And I kid you not, it was 2 ducks. That was the crowd of people that showed up to watch a professional orchestra play in the park, 2 ducks. And it was the funniest thing. I said, you don't say. I said, well, hopefully some more ducks will show up. And I think some people showed up a little bit later, but it's like 30 minutes to showtime. So as an orchestral musician, you get used to playing in front of hardly anybody. You do it because you love the music, not because you want to show off for a lot of people. And this year, we put on a special performance. It was the same performance, but very scaled down version of that same play. And we did it for the special needs community. So I think we had probably like 12 to 15 families come out with kids at severe, autism, Down syndrome, kind of ran the gamut, and it was great. It was great. The horns had to stop being everything that they could be. Someone told them to be everything they could be one time, and they believed it. And they play those things as loud as they possibly can, and you can hear them from 5 miles away, and they're 15 feet behind me. God. But they were finally quiet. And it was a great show. It was great just to be part of it, to go from that crowd of 1,500 to a crowd of 85. It's a big difference, right? But it was wonderful, and I know they appreciated it. And the problem that I have with the Boss bottled elixir is just the fact it does not last a long time. You're talking about 3 or 4 hours. You're going to get a great 3 or 4 hours. But after that, it ain't happening for you. And so when I went back, I had about an hour or 2 off. And when I went back, I grabbed another fragrance. And that fragrance is Spicebomb Infrared. So this bottle is one of the ugliest bottles I've ever seen. It's full. Barely used. I don't know what this person did to this bottle. But the juice is good. And that's all we care about, right? I got it half off, so I don't care. And this is the EDB version, Spicebomb Infrared. And it is spicy. Very, very spicy. Very in your face. And all the spice bombs are spicy and in your face, masculine. There's red pepper, there's like cayenne, there's chili in here. I mean, it's intense. And all the spice bombs are intense, but they don't go past 3 or 4 hours. Then you have to reapply. So it was a good fragrance day, but I had Boss for 3 or 4 hours, and it was totally gone at the end of that. And then I had night vision, and I go nose blind. I know it's still there, but I go nose blind to night vision about 30 minutes. But I know it's still there. I know it's still doing its thing. But so would I get night vision again? No, probably not. It's not the greatest, and I am happy that I got a highly discounted version. So no harm, no foul as far as I'm concerned. But like Camera would have just been better in almost every way compared to that one. Anyways, my butt is thoroughly asleep, so let me readjust here. Okay, and that brings us to the last week, including Christmas. And obviously I did not go out as much, but still wore a lot of fragrances. Even when I'm at home, I wear fragrances because I'm trying to test them out to see if I like them or not, and to see how long they last, projection, performance, that kind of stuff. So I did that. And the first one that I did that with is from the House of Banana Republic, Vintage Green. This is like, if someone's talking about a Banana Republic fragrance, it's probably this one. This just a ton of freshness, citrus, but also an overwhelming bitterness that would rival Scrooge himself. Maybe it's a floral note, but definitely very fougere and very much a. I need to learn to say that without rolling my eyes. Definitely like a spring or summertime fragrance. It lasted 5 or 6 hours. It was good. It projected pretty okay. But it was kind of one of those situations with the Cedra Boise where I was like, this just doesn't really feel like me. You know, it doesn't really feel like the kind of fragrances I like. So maybe it'll grow on me, maybe it won't. Next, we have Eros Flame. This is another one I've talked about in several videos lately. Chinoto, bitter, fruit, energetic, exciting, really good fragrance. Lasts 4 or 5 hours, not a huge projection monster, but the way that I wear this fragrance, I don't want it to be. I use it for more intimate indoor settings. Next, the next Eros, and this is Energy. This one is interesting. When I first sprayed this, I did not want it to be like Aventus. The reason being is that it is a $125 fragrance and I paid full price brand new for it. And I didn't want to buy another Aventus clone for that, at least that price. And when you spray it, you're like, crap, it's Aventus. But then it transforms into something totally different. It has this orange citrus note that takes over. It starts off as Aventus, and when it dries, it just becomes happy orange juice type of note. Super friendly, super sweet, energetic. Definitely, I think it would make a great gym fragrance, but I digress. Would I buy that again? I might wait a little bit. Every store that I went to try to sample it did not have a tester of it. I couldn't get a sample of it anywhere. I could order online probably, but every store that I went to that even had it in stock did not have it available in a tester to try it. So I said, screw it, I'm just gonna get it. So went to Ulta, paid full price. It's the bane of my existence. Okay, next. Speaking of bane of my existence, I tried this fragrance and I sprayed it and it lasted me like 16 hours. And I was like, what even is this? It was the highest quality fragrance I think that I've ever had. And from that point I was obsessed with buying it, but I did not want to spend $180 on it. So I waited, and I found somebody that bought it, knew, hated it, and was selling it for a big discount. This is Y Elixir by Saint Laurent. This has a distinct geranium note that kind of blows you away. Honestly, this is a 2 ounce. I think you could get by with one spray for the whole day. I really do. When I did spray it, it was boom on the left arm, boom on the right arm, and it lasted me 16 hours. It was even through showering, it lasted me. So, I really hope you don't hate this fragrance because it's going to be with you for a long time. If you like floral, you have to like geranium. If you don't like geranium, you're not going to like that. It's very geranium heavy. But I don't know if I've ever seen a fragrance that performs like that and projects like that. It's like, what? It's incredible. So, last. We have from the house Lemon and Gourmand. And this is Chocolaty, a hazelnut. This is confusing, and some of you are probably like, What did he even just say? Exactly, exactly. This is from Le Monde Gourmand, and this is an EDT. When I got this, I did a unboxing of this. Shocked the hell out of me, because I thought this was a hair and body spray. I didn't know it came in EDT. I didn't know how excited I should have actually been. I sampled this in stores a long time ago, months and months ago, and I thought, I like it, but I'll get it later. And this was a body mist, body spray, and that's why I didn't get it. I didn't want to pay $17 for a body mist. And I realized I messed up, and I looked on the TJ Maxx, the Marshalls, none of them ever had it. Checked every week, every couple of days during that week, and I finally found it, and I grabbed it. And I should have even grabbed more, but it was $17. I don't need more. That would have been stupid if I would have grabbed more. But this right here is a sweeter version of By the Fireplace by Replica. This is an incredible fragrance. An incredible fragrance. And I'm so happy to have it in my collection. Hazelnut, chocolate, s'mores vibe. It's an incredible fragrance. I know I said that before. I need to say it again. I sprayed it on me, and I sprayed it on my shirt, and 3 days later, I could still smell it. Very distinct, beautiful fragrance. And here's some advice. If you can't find this at your TJ Maxx, at your Marshalls, and this is actually a piece of advice that goes beyond just this fragrance. If you can't find this in the men's section, go look in the women's section. That's where I found it. The first time I found it in the men's, second time I found it in the women's. Very much a unisex fragrance, very much so. Similar to By the Fireplace, I feel, as well. A very deceptive name, By the Fireplace, because it is a rich, s'mores, chocolatey, gourmand type of fragrance, and it just does so well. Does so well. Man, I'm gonna start a new thing on these videos. For one, I tried to talk more, right? Because I want this to be more like a chill thing, right? Like us just hanging out. But I want to start some at the end of every month. I want to do at least a top 3 on what I would recommend, and maybe even what I wouldn't recommend. So out of the top 3, what were my favorites, and what do I think is most worth the money? I mean, I'm gonna have to give it to Spicebomb. I know that this probably pass, and I'm loving it now. I might not love it as much in the future. I just think it's great. But Boss Bottled Elixir is great. Cocoa is great. Liquid Brown's great. Chocolate Hazelnut's great. But I think the winner is gonna be Spicebomb Extreme. Which one wouldn't I buy again? Probably Stronger With You. And I still really enjoy the fragrance. It's just when you have these heavy hitters like Gourmand and Liquid Brown and Chocolate Hazelnut and all of these, you just don't really want to reach for Stronger With You. And it's a weird sensation. It's a weird thing to say, because I wanted to get this fragrance for a long time. It's a long time coming that I've wanted to get this fragrance. And I waited until National Singles Day when they gave me like 20% off. Every one day, you don't have to be single. But I waited until that and I bought it, and it was great. But another reason why I say it's probably not worth it is, other than Elixir, it's probably the most expensive fragrance here. So to have a fragrance that not only does it not beat out some of the other ones, but to be as expensive as it is, that's why. So other than that, it's a good fragrance. It just would probably be the one I wouldn't recommend out of all of these. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Until